Hello, I'm Pilar Scott Walker of the Elgin and Pilar Walker team at Keller Williams VIP Properties. Let's talk about the daily changing paradigm of real estate financing. I want to introduce you to a real estate mortgage specialist Elgin and I have used for about 7 or 8 years, and that is Brian Woolley of Prospect Mortgage. Welcome, Brian.
Thanks, Pilar.
Okay, Brian, can you give our audience an overview of interest rates right now, both conventional loans and FHA loans?
Yeah, I never thought I'd be saying this, but interest rates right now are in the low 3s for FHA financing and the low 3s to mid 3s for conventional financing, depending on FICO score and property type.
How hard is it to qualify for a mortgage today, both on the conventional and FHA benchmark for financing?
Qualifying today isn't as hard as they make it sound in the news and through people that you talk to. If you have average credit, verifiable and documentable income that's enough to support the mortgage payment, and access to the down payment, qualifying shouldn't be a big problem. The issues that you see in the marketplace today are really from loan officers who don't have a true understanding of guidelines, or lenders that are imposing certain restrictions and additional guidelines on top of what's standard guidelines.
I see. Brian, as you know, a lot of people do not have or are scared to put a lot of cash into purchasing a property. So could you give us some approximate details on the advantages of purchasing a property with FHA financing, and how does one qualify for it?
Yeah, FHA financing is a government-insured loan. So what that means is it allows for relaxed guidelines when it comes to things like down payment, credit, income, debt-to-income ratios. So FHA financing is a great option because it does have some relaxed guidelines.
So Brian, let's say I have a house that's around $400,000. Can you give me an approximate down payment, monthly mortgage, including any additional fees?
Yeah, on a $400,000 purchase price, utilizing FHA financing today, the monthly mortgage payment should be about $2,600 a month.
Oh, wow, that mortgage payment is very competitive to what people are paying both in the San Fernando and Santa Clarita Valleys for rent, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I'm hearing many clients telling me that purchasing, let's say, a $400,000 house at $2,600 a month is actually less than what they're paying in rent today for a comparable home.
Okay, well, can you quickly describe a buyer's closing cost in the same example? Let's tell them what closing costs really are and how they are paid.
On a $400,000 purchase price, the closing costs are going to be roughly $8,000 to $10,000, give or take a little bit. Closing costs, though, are things that are not really explained to buyers very often. And what they need to understand is closing costs are made up of really two things. One is your actual costs, which is your escrow fees, your title fees, appraisal fees, and lender fees. Then you have on top of that what are called prepaid items, which are things like property taxes, interest, and homeowners insurance that all gets paid through closing, which actually pushes the closing costs up higher than what someone might be expecting.
Well, with careful negotiations, is it possible and legal for the seller to pay buyer's closing cost, and how much legally can be paid?
Yeah, FHA is very flexible in that aspect of it. FHA allows for a seller to actually pay up to 6% of a buyer's closing costs, which again doesn't have to come out of the buyer's pocket.
Well, as for the 3.5% down payment with FHA, does it all have to be the buyer's own seasoned funds, or can it be can any of the funds be a gift, or if that does work?
Yeah, FHA, again, because it's government insured and has relaxed guidelines, there's also no requirement that the borrower have to actually use their own funds to purchase a property. So the down payment and closing costs can actually be a gift.
Oh, great. Well, thank you, Brian, for giving our audience great insight on how the loan process works and sharing your expertise and experience in real estate financing.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.